Good. Okay. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to one of the last episodes of Chasing Zion 100. We are currently 1 week out. I literally cannot believe it. If you've been following along the journey so far, please let me know in the comments below. I'm interested to see who started with us in the Leadville series and who started with us in the Zion series. So let me know in the comments below when you came into the family. For the next couple of days, we're shooting with Kane, which is my recovery shoes on my bottoms. And you guys know I've been wearing Kane for several years, and it's just such an authentic partnership. And I'm just so stoked to bring you guys along some BTS stuff. We actually did some BTS yesterday, so go ahead and watch that now. All right, how did we do, Charlie?
Crushed it.
We crushed it. We got
seasoned professional.
A little setup here. Did a little interview here. How'd it go, Nolan?
Killed it.
Good. Okay. Now we're gonna do some filming for ads and then also for IG reels, etc. So gonna grab some outfits and then come back down and do that. So we are shooting the all-white collection today, which just has these little hints of color here, and we're color coordinating to the fit. So this is the blue fit. We've got the Iron Man World Champ shirt. We have the light blue fit here, the red fit here, boom, green, and then orange. The orange shoes are in the car, so that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
My name is Kimiko, and welcome to a What's in My Bag. So we are going to start off with our running stuff. So we have running fuel. We've got some gel. Mix her up. One of the most important things in recovery for me is making sure that I fuel my body regularly. So before my runs, during my runs, and after my runs, fueling my body keeps my body really healthy through all of this training volume. And for me, definitely recovery starts with fueling correctly. I wear Kane specifically because I beat the heck out of my legs, and I need shoes that are gonna help me recover and let my legs and my feet breathe after a long run. Oh, that's sick. Yeah. See the vision? Oh, the splash looks great.
So should we meet you, like drive around, and then you'll run to the section over there?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Steve, just let me know the speed.
Yeah. You gotta slow down.
Yep. I'll let her catch up real quick.
Slower. Wait, Nolan. Hey, throw your four-ways on.
It's just like the bumpiest part of the road. There's a car coming. There's some horses coming up that look kind of dope. There's a truck coming. Charles, will you get a shot where you pin up her feet to her upper body if you haven't already? Let's go.
Jenga jeans, dude. You're good, Amanda.
Alright, that wrapped up our Kane shoot for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed like the little behind the scenes branding stuff. If you did, please let me know in the comments below. But I'm going to do a Q&A tomorrow morning. So if you have any questions in the future, you can always leave them in the comments below. But I went to Instagram, gathered a bunch of your questions. So we're going to take you through a full day tomorrow answering some of those questions. So you'll get 3 days of taper with me, which is totally new. If you like this type of video, please just let me know. But I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. See you then. And welcome to April 3rd. We are currently, I guess that would make us 9 days out from Level 100. And welcome to the Q&A portion of this video. So I wanted to make sure that before we race, I answer any like last minute questions that people might have. So I went to Instagram and we got a lot of questions to go over today. The first question is, do you train even if you are feeling fatigued or sore? So there is a fine line that I've found between the feeling of feeling overtrained and the feeling of just feeling sore and fatigued in general. So I definitely in this prep did train fatigued and sore. For me, if I do a leg day, I will be sore every single time, even though I've done leg day since I was like 13 years old. So it's been over 15 years that I've trained legs and I still get sore every single time. So if I relied on my body to feel 100% to do a training session, I would literally never train because I would be relying on something that literally does not exist for me. I do 100% still train when I'm sore. Fatigue is something different because I think the days that I've taken off in this prep have been very few and far between. Like I think maybe in this prep, I've skipped a total of like 4 training days over the past 6-7 months. So in real time, like I honestly have dedicated a lot more time and effort to just be following my training plan and focusing on that. And maybe I could have been a little bit more in tune with my body and taken a few days off, but as far as I decided this prep, it was going to be to do my training regardless of how I feel. Sometimes we make decisions based on emotions instead of making decisions based on rationale. And for me, I know that there are several days, including today, including yesterday, where I just feel tired. I feel like I don't want to do something and motivation, and that makes me feel fatigued, if that makes sense. So dictating your feelings of how your body actually feels based on an emotion, I think is something that we do quite often, and we don't even realize it. We just bring it down to fatigue level. So I definitely think that there is a fine line between overtraining. I think overall fatigue, where you're literally waking up every single day, going to bed every single day, feeling fatigued, you're feeling just burnt out in general, I think that is a great time to take a rest day or take a deload, especially if you're newer to running. But as someone who, you know, I was in the military for 7 years, I know how it is to train on no sleep. I know how it is to train on non-ideal body situations. And for me, I choose to pick dedication over how my body is feeling. And I know that sounds a little bit extreme, but when you're training for a 100-miler, which is extreme, you have to get used to be able to train in fatigue levels and to be able to kind of push through regardless. Now, since we are in taper, I'm taking things a little bit more, I guess, intuitively. So for example, I was feeling a little bit sick after coming back from Austin. I have traveled In the past 3 weeks, I have traveled to 3 different places and have been gone significantly more days than I have been home. And I think the travel is really catching up to me. So for example, last Monday, I took a rest day that was unplanned, but that hasn't really been the norm for me this prep. And I do think there is a level of when we're getting closer to race, we need to make decisions that are based on the idea of being healthy on race day. So I think that's really, really important to me. So that is something that I'm paying attention to a little bit more during this taper. So I hope that answers your question. Do you still train even if you're feeling fatigued or sore? And I would say the majority of the time, the answer to that is yes. Oh my gosh, I just looked back at that clip and I said we're 9 days out from Leadville 100. We are 9 days out from Zion 100. I don't know what my brain was doing, but that's weird. I feel like that's giving you a good, I guess, representation of how my brain is operating today after 2 long days of shooting and feeling a little bit run down and taper. But we are 9 days out from Zion 100, not Leadville 100. Sorry about that. That was funny. So the next question is, what are you most proud of this prep? And I'm gonna be so honest, I feel like I've had a lot of moments of reflection in this prep, and I think one of the things that I'm most proud of is just my ability to grow in the sport in just a year. So I think like if I look back to how I was feeling prepping for Leadville 100, if I look back to 1 year ago of what my training volume looked like and how my body was recovering, we have made incredible progress in literally just 1 year in this sport. And for me, I think that's so incredible to think about, especially in thinking about how far I've come since recovering from my cancer surgeries. And I'm just really proud of the volume that I've been able to handle. My peak week was 111 miles for the week. And before that, I had done several weeks of like 96, 97 miles for the week. And that mileage is literally something I couldn't have dreamt of hitting. And last year when I was in Leadville prep, we were doing a lot more vert. This doesn't necessarily compute exactly, but I felt like when I hit around like the 65 mile per week mark, I felt like my body was really, really screaming at me. And the fact that we were able to withstand, 30, 40 plus miles over that throughout the week and feel really good, I think that is what I'm most proud of in this prep. Just being able to stay focused and give myself the grace to be, I guess, bad at something and like feeling frustrated. There was so many weeks where I was frustrated in this prep, especially when I was training for my speed and strength block for the Mesa Marathon. There was definitely a lot of frustration around that. And I think the ability to just kind of center back and be like, okay, you can be frustrated, but you do this for fun. Like you get to choose to do this. And I'm just really, truly, honestly proud of my body's ability to endure this training block as a whole and endure the mileage that I've been able to hit. So thank you for this question. I just feel like if you're new to something, give yourself a couple of years and see how much you can progress within those few years. So love that question. Thank you. That is going to bring us to the next question, which is, what do you find the most challenging about training for a 100 miler? And I think this is like multifaceted and it's gonna be different for every single individual. But for me, I would just say the pure time that it's taken and the energy that it's taken away from other things besides running. So I've talked about this on my Instagram, but I think that there is like this misconception that your energy stores are either physical or mental and emotional. Like those things are 2 different buckets that you can pull from. But in reality, all of those things come from one energy bucket. Your physical activity, your work, your emotional activity, your family life, your social life, like all of these things come from the same energy bucket. And if you are training for a 100 miler, or even if you're training for a marathon, you're gonna be pulling from that energy bucket and it's gonna leave behind the energy that you're able to output to other things. And I think for me, in training for a 100 miler, it has 1000% affected my ability to be social with people outside of running, to commit to work things. It's definitely made those things significantly more challenging because I just have significantly less energy for those things. And I am not complaining by any stretch of the imagination because I love what I do. But when we get into the peak weeks of mileage for 100 milers, my body just feels it, my brain feels it, and especially with me, the amount of pure travel that I've had to do over the past 3 weeks has definitely taken a huge toll on my energy stores as a whole for both training and for mental things, and I feel quite stretched thin. So that is what I would say is definitely the hardest thing. And I know that there's going to be some people who have significantly different stories than me. You know, people who are parents are going to be stretched more thin, people who work in the OR. When I was training for my Ironmans, both my first Ironman and Ironman World Championships, I was doing like 14-hour days in the OR. Like 7 days a week I was on call, and I would do literally 14-hour days in the OR standing on hard concrete, not being able to drink water or eat food throughout that process. So I know how it feels to be really, really stretched thin in those regards, and then also train. I think when I was training for my Ironmans, there was like, I would say more often than not, I was waking up at like 3 in the morning. So I was really sacrificing sleep. I was definitely not doing anything social outside of work and training. And yeah, it's just, I think a lot of people search for this like balance when you're training for something that is like crazy and not balanced, and I'm not sure that 100% exists in the ultra marathon, like 100-mile ultra marathon space. I think if you're training for a 50K, or if you're training for a 50-miler, or if you're just not investing as much time in training for those things, which is totally fine, I think you can find a little bit more balance. But either way, you're still pulling from this combined energy bucket, and those things are just not separate. So social things really do rely on the same energy bucket, and so do physical things. So those two are not different. And I would say, yeah, just allocating energy is definitely the most challenging part of a 100-mile prep, and for this prep, for me specifically. So this next question is a little bit more personal, and I actually really enjoy this question because it's in something that has been a little bit, I guess, like not weighing on me, but it has been top of mind. So I do think it is important to talk about. This person asks, how do you handle the need to fuel versus trying to look as fit as possible? I find it hard to balance. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. My mindset has completely shifted on this. I 1000% need to fuel no matter how it makes my body look. And I had a conversation at BPN Athlete Week with a couple of the individuals there, and just based on like my own insecurities, it's hard to be around a lot of people who like they look so incredibly fit. Like they look like bodybuilders, right? And that's the look that they've been able to achieve through their training and their diet. But for me, training for a 100-miler, I cannot focus on that. Like I purely need to be focused on performance, and for me, that does have an effect on how my body looks. Like I think to the average person, like I look fit. I don't look like overweight or anything crazy like that. But in the industry, and specifically in like fitness as a whole, it is hard to like look at other people and not feel a little bit insecure about myself. But this kind of comes back to something that we've talked about on the channel before, is just comparison is absolutely 1000% the thief of joy. I'm sure there's several people who look a certain way, who look at my like performance wise and are like, wow, I wish I could be able to do that. And it's always going to steal your joy when you're constantly comparing either what your body looks like or what you're able to achieve to that of others, because there's always going to be someone who performs better than you. There's always going to be someone who looks better than you or is leaner than you, etc. And I think this is what this person is asking, is like, she says, the need to fuel versus trying to look as fit as possible. And I view that as leanness. And I don't think that there is like a linear line between being lean and being fit and being able to perform well. I think being lean is part of like an aesthetic look, and obviously there are people who perform at really, really high levels that are super duper lean, specifically in like the shorter distances like the marathon. I 100% think that your body weight has an impact on your performance, but I know several people who have performed at lighter weights and heavier weights, and they perform significantly better at heavier weights. So specifically, the longer the distance becomes as well, your body needs to be able to handle that much volume without breaking down. And because I want to do this long term, like I love to do this, I don't want to break my body down with every single prep that I do. So I focus really heavily on fueling. You guys know this. I focus solely on food and eating to perform, and not eating to make my body shredded or to look a certain way. I know there are gonna be plenty of people who look at my page, and brands who look at my page or wish that I was leaner, or wish that like my Instagram portrayed like a more like bodybuilder or like fit aesthetic. And that's unfortunate, because to be truly fair to myself, genetically, I you know, I'm half Japanese, and if you think about Japanese athletes as a whole, like we tend to hold lower body fat and lower body strength, and in general, like I don't necessarily think that my genetics are built to be this like super jacked and shredded person 100% of the time. And for me, like I'm not naturally gonna have an 8-pack. Like it's not for me, my look that my genetics pull towards. I'm just gonna tend to have a little bit more body fat, and I think that that is 100% okay. And for me, it doesn't impact my performance. You know, if I was significantly overweight, I could see myself being like, okay, we need to take things back and focus a little bit on weight loss, but I'm just not at that place yet. So yeah, I think this is an interesting question, but I definitely think that if you're someone who's struggling with the idea of like looking fit versus being fit, I would definitely put your eggs in the being fit basket, because being fit is so much more than how you look. It's how you operate in life. It's the energy that you can give to your kids, and it's the energy that you can give to performing really well and racing really well if you're a runner, or you know, getting stronger in the gym, etc., without having to put so much aesthetic focus on how you look in the mirror. That's just going to be such a bad way to go about life if you're constantly just picking yourself apart in the mirror and not happy with what you see. So definitely shift your focus to performance if this is something that you do struggle with. So yeah, thanks for the question. Get you a man who brings you back a smoothie without even asking. If he wanted to, he would. Delish. Okay, back to, I actually need some water. I'm dehydrated. Back to the questions. I loved this question, and I wish I would have recorded some of the meeting from yesterday night, but what do you want from your crew during a race? So there are a few things that I don't want from my crew, and if you are new to ultra running, I think these are things that you can definitely relay to your crew that I think are really helpful, and there are a few things that I've shared with other people and it's been helpful for them in their 100-milers. So number one thing that I don't want from my crew is to be coddled. So the last thing that I want when I come in to an aid station is to be like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, what's wrong? Are you like, do your legs hurt? Like, I don't want any of that. The last thing that I want is to be reminded of how bad something hurts at mile 85, because it's gonna hurt. So I will say, I don't want negativity when I come in. I don't want to be coddled. I don't really want like lollygagging. I don't want myself to be like comfortable at an aid station. I want to come in, come out, and be like set to go. The last thing I need is to be like just chilling for 20 minutes and wasting time that I could be just moving. Doing even 1 mile per hour is gonna get me further than just sitting for 15 minutes. I will say a few things that I really love to have from my crew when I come in is energy. So the energy that I get from coming into my crew is like top tier. If you watched Ikigai, which was my Leadville 100 documentary with BPN, you saw how incredibly pumped up my team was every time that I came into my aid stations. That was so helpful for me, and it's something that I asked for my crew as well. And the second thing I asked for is just to help me make sure that I have all of my fuel. So I actually built out a document, a Google document, with the time that I'm gonna come into aid stations prospectively, the amount of food that I need to be put back into my vest based on the distance between that crew station and the next crew station, taking out the trash of my vest and replacing it with fresh food, fresh water, refilling my bladder, refilling my hand bottle, putting GNM in there, etc. Just essentially helping me get in and out as fast as I can, while also giving me all the tools that I need to have for the next section. So pretty straightforward. It's almost like, if you think about like NASCAR, it's literally a crew stop. It's literally, let's do exactly what you need to do to perform for this next little section of the race and get you out of there. So my crew also is in charge of pacing. So I have one crew chief, which is my husband. He comes to my races and he's the crew chief, and then my pacers will be with the crew as well. I do like them to rest, so if they're not at every single aid station, that doesn't matter to me. I want them to be able to rest. That way when they pick me up to pace me, they are set to go and don't have to feel like as sleep deprived as I do. So that is the hope coming into Zion 100, is that my crew is feeling really fresh and excited to be there. So yeah, I love my crew. I literally would not be able to do my races without them. It is so crucial and has been such a reminder that this sport is a team sport, even though I'm the only one running. But my success is 100% determined on the crew around me. So I'm so grateful for them. And I just think it makes a huge, huge difference on whether I succeed in a race or I don't succeed in a race. So love you, crew. So I just got a package and I have to show you before we answer another question. because this is crazy. Okay, I'm like, how do I show this? This package is from Skin Medica, okay? Skin Medica is a very high-end, I believe it's medical grade. Yeah, no, it's 100%. It's a medical grade skincare. And I just got the craziest package ever, okay? I'm gonna sit down because I don't want to raise my tripod to show you. For one, this bag is heavy and full of stuff. Okay, look at how much skincare is in here. Excuse me, I literally do not feel worthy of receiving this type of package, especially from like a beauty skincare brand, but I'm obsessed. This is like a very high-end serum that I cannot wait to try because I've seen so much info on this. This is Skin Medica TNS Advanced Serum, so this is definitely what I'm most interested to try. I think this serum is like $300. $300. So maybe I'll try this stuff and then let you guys know in a follow-up video if you are interested in knowing like what my thoughts are on these things. Another collagen, this is Replenish Restore Hydrator, a collagen product. Let's see, water-based hydrator, features proprietary complex of 5 forms of hyaluronic acid, which HA is super good for dry skin, so I'm excited to try that out. We have their exfoliating cleanser, pore purifying cleanser, gel cleanser here, neck correct cream, which, you know, we are 30, so you gotta keep things together. Firm and Tone lotion for the body. I'm excited to try that out. Even and Correct advanced brightening treatment. I wonder if this is for dark spots. Yeah, it is. So to correct uneven tone, hyperpigmentation, and dark spots. Love that. I do have a few spots just like on my face. This is genetically, I don't know if you can see it, but I have like a few like sunspots genetically. I just feel like all of the Asian ladies in my family have spots from the sun on our face. It's something not necessarily to be like ashamed of, but it's just something that we definitely do have. Dermal repair cream. I wonder what this is. This body. Oh yeah. Face, neck, and chest. Oh, nice. Vitamin C, vitamin E. Intensely hydrates. This is going to be so essential for me, especially coming off of Leadville, or not Leadville, I keep saying Leadville, y'all. Zion 100, I'm definitely going to have some dry skin, so I'm definitely going to use that afterwards. Another Even and Correct. These are the brightening treatment pads. Gosh, there's so much in here. Acne clarifying treatment. I actually do like a salicylic acid. This is salicylic acid and niacinamide treatment. I do like that when I'm having like hormonal breakouts. Instant Bright Eye Mask. Then we have 3 little guys. We have retinol. This is 0.25. So I do like retinol. I did get some info on retinol from the comments a couple videos ago, and they did say that there are some like hormone disrupting things that retinol has. So I need to look into that before. I use a very gentle retinol cream every single day. But yeah, I haven't really looked into that if I'm just totally honest. Dark spot cream. This actually I think would be best for my little dark spots that I was talking about. Ooh, I love a good eye cream, so I'm excited to try this eye cream out. It's just called the Instant Bright. And then the last thing is the Mineral Shield. This is a sunscreen, so Essential Defense. I am so stoked to try out all of this little medical grade skincare. We have a bunch of information on it, so I'm excited to look through this. But I just cannot believe that I was worthy enough to receive this type of package. This is blowing my mind. So thank you so much, Skin Medica. I literally cannot wait to try this all out. So stoked. On to our questions. This question I think we're gonna save for a future video because it's a little bit more in depth than I want to go on this video. But what did your transition through life look like after high school to college and jobs to now? I am gonna go through this in a future video because I think it's a little bit too long that I want to get into right now. I'm having a hard time talking again. I have another lichen planus flare-up right now in my mouth, so just bear with me as we stumble upon some of this stuff. What is the confidence difference between this 100-miler and your last? I'm gonna say there has been a huge difference in my confidence, and I think just knowing that I was able to handle so much more volume in this prep is a huge confidence builder, and also just being in the sport for a year now, like I think you can just have so much improvement in such a short period of time if you're consistent and dedicated to the sport. And yeah, I just feel so much more confident in my fitness. I will say the forecast right now is 95 degrees, which I think is 35 degrees Celsius. So 95 degrees Fahrenheit on race day. So that's definitely impacting my confidence a little bit. But at the same time, if I can control everything else, but just not control the weather, we'll be able to get through it. It might look a little different than I want it to if it is 95 degrees, but that's okay. That doesn't change the confidence that I have in my fitness, but definitely just adds to some level of, I guess, like uncertainty come race day. We're just gonna bust these out. A bunch of people asking about ultra training while busy. So this person says, tips on getting mileage in with a busy work/travel schedule. So obviously everyone's schedule is gonna be so different and dependent on their job, if they're going to school, etc. And my recommendation is literally to just plan out your day. I think sometimes we don't really realize how much extra time we have throughout the day because we just kind of live life sporadically. And when I was my busiest, it was my most effective time blocking period of my life. So time blocking, essentially what it looks like, I have calendars that have this. Also, there's an app called Structured that I've used where you can literally time block every single thing in your day, including your commutes, including like small things like brushing your teeth in the morning, getting ready, etc. And then you can see how much time that you actually have throughout the day, which I feel like makes it a little bit easier to plan your training around it. Obviously, if you work from home, you're gonna have a little bit more flexibility than if you're, for example, like when I was in the OR, each day I just had to plan around it. So I would do training super early in the mornings, and then I would train after I got back home. So it just requires you, if you have a really busy schedule, you're traveling a lot, it's just gonna require you to be more intentional about your time blocking, and it will be more difficult. Like, I'm just gonna be totally honest. I'm super blessed to be able to work from home now. I do travel a ton. Like I said, in this past 3 weeks, I've traveled more days than I've been, like significantly more days than I've been home. But also at the same time, I know that, this is my job. Like, this is a part of my job, and I'm so stinking grateful. Like, pinch me. I don't even understand sometimes how this is my job, but I'm so grateful for the opportunity to do this. It doesn't mean that this is not also work and that there's not a million other things that I have to do. But yeah, I understand the flexibility aspect is a little bit different, especially as someone who doesn't have kids yet. So obviously when you have kids as well, your time blocking becomes that much more important, and also has to be a little bit more flexible because you're no longer just on your individual time, but also on your baby's time. That brings us to this question: how did you come to decide to get started on YouTube? And the craziest thing about YouTube is that I've literally been watching and wanting to start YouTube since like 2011. So I literally bought the G7X in 2011. I saved up all my money while working retail. I worked 3 jobs while going to college. I literally saved up so much stinking money to buy this G7X that is now like $2,000 some places, but I saved $700 to buy the original G7X. And yeah, I wanted to start a YouTube back then, but I struggled so much, I think, with self-confidence, and I wanted to do this, which is so crazy that it's been so many years like since that time period, and I'm finally coming to YouTube and feeling very confident with this decision. But honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way, because I think the direction that I've come with my YouTube obviously is different than what I would have back then. So I'm really happy with my decision. But how did I come to get started? I honestly just decided to stop saying next year, or decided to stop saying like, well, the circumstances aren't really ideal, etc. And I invested like all of last year. Just full transparency, I didn't make any money, essentially. I mean, I still don't really make a ton of money from YouTube, if I'm totally honest, because I do pay my videographer. So I will say this is still more of an investment than it is monetarily beneficial for me in the long run. And that's okay. I'm just okay with that. And I've accepted that as kind of like a building process for myself, because we have only been on YouTube for 9-10 months. So it's only been less than a year, and I understand that this platform specifically takes a lot more time to build, and I honestly just love it so stinking much. Like, obviously I'm doing it for a cost. Like, I'm not even making money on it. So I'm doing it because I truly love it. And I hope that you know that. And I just love sharing the process of training for something like a 100 miler. I love connecting with you guys. Like, this is such a blessing to be able to have access to, like long form media and being able to impact your guys' lives and yeah, just talk to you guys like this. We don't get to do this on any other platform, and I'm just so blessed. So I know that in the long run, you know, it's not necessarily a great monetary decision to do something that just costs you money instead of provides you compensation back. But I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay just having this platform for you and I, and yeah, maybe one day it'll pay off in the long run, but I'm just okay with where we're at. So I guess, yeah, long story short, how did you come to decide to get started on YouTube? I literally just decided to start. I said, I guess modern day Mel Robbins, I just decided to say, let them judge me for doing this, let them whatever. I just knew I wanted to do it, so I'm so happy that I did. Let's kind of bust through some more of these because we have so many and I want to make sure that I get to as many as I can. Tips on getting better at social media, Reels and TikToks. I'm not your girl to ask for that. Unfortunately, I am not that great at short form content. It's actually something that I'm exploring now as another investment in my platform is hiring some help for short form, because truly I like with the focus on long form media and not really having the assets or the help to have help with short form. I am looking into potentially having help with that throughout the week, but yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm like the person to ask about that. Unfortunately, I should probably be better at that. What camera filming equipment do you use? So I shoot on the Sony a7 IV. My videographer shoots on FX3, I believe, the Sony FX3, and then he edits in Premiere, Adobe Premiere. How to get faster over time? Literally just put in the work to do so in zone 2 and then VO2 max. So we need to make sure that we're training our aerobic system to get better at basically becoming more efficient at running. So zone 2 is what is going to develop not only your aerobic base, like cardiovascularly, but also teach your body how to move more efficiently. So zone 2 is so stinking important, and it's not something that you can just like not believe in. It's just 100% will help you get faster over time. But you also have to incorporate the VO2 max or the speed stuff where you're really, really pushing high heart rate zones. You're, you know, really pushing the body to reach these both heart rate, I guess, highs and also stress the body enough to be able to move more efficiently. And those two coupled together really, really help with getting faster over time. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to consistency, dedication, and just time. So just putting in the work, building the foundation over time to get faster and to just become a better runner. Does Zion or Leadville have any significance over the other in your journey? If so, what and why? I think Leadville had a lot of significance for me because I raced it for charity. So I raced it for First Descents, and it was my first 100. So I think that will forever live as a core memory in my mind. And obviously, like being my first 100, having that be my introduction to the 100-mile distance is just incredible. And Leadville is so stinking incredible. Zion was something that I knew I wanted to do because it is local here to Utah. It's like about 4.5 hour drive, and the terrain is really interesting to me. So it's super different than Leadville is, but at the end of the day, it's something that I knew I wanted to train for. It's a spring race, which is hard to race, especially coming off of a long winter, a very cold winter. And then obviously racing, like I said, 95 degrees is going to be a challenge, but I wouldn't say necessarily like significance over one another. I just know that in order to improve in the sport, I have to continue in the sport, which means that I have to continue racing. So yeah, I'm really excited about Zion. And someone also asked, Leadville 100 again. I did announce this in my, I think it was my dreams and visions in announcing what my visions were for the year, but I am returning to Leadville, and there will be a Leadville series. If you're interested in that, again, we are going back to Leadville. I cannot believe it. It's literally mind-blowing that I got picked in the lottery. It doesn't make any sense, but I literally told my friends this. I was like, I guess God just likes me to suffer in Leadville. So we're going back-to-back years, which I think is really, really cool for me as an athlete to see how I'm able to improve in 1 year on the same course, and also just having 200 milers under my belt coming into that race, I think is going to be really cool. So I'm interested to see how we improve and to see how Zion also helps me train for Leadville. So love that question. Let's do a couple more. Here's a good one. I love you too. Eliza asks, what are you looking forward to the most post Zion 100 training? I'm honestly really looking forward to taking a couple weeks off of running and getting back into the gym and just like kind of chilling for a little bit. We've been in prep for a very long time, and I love after training to just take a few weeks of not having structured training. So for me, like, I would say the majority of the time I like to be in structure, but the thing that I like after a race is to literally just disconnect from structure and be able to train kind of how I want to without having to like think about what mileage I'm hitting for the day or have a plan or if I can lift for the day or I can't lift for the day. I just like to be able to kind of go how my body's feeling. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also randomly 2 weeks after the race, I'm gonna go to a Forrest Frank concert, so a little social thing, which I'm really excited about. And then May is actually my birthday as well. So yeah, I think just like being able to celebrate things or do things that are outside of running for about a month before I kick back up for Leadville is what I'm most looking forward to. I'm gonna get ready to go to the gym and then we'll answer questions after I get back. But there's one question that I just can't stop thinking about because I'm not sure if it was asked in jest or if it was like asked seriously, but it says, how can one differentiate what is self-harm and what is ambition with ultra running? And I guess I can only speak from personal experience. I do not consider ultra running self-harm, though I do think the people who sign up for ultras like 100 milers don't dislike pain. I don't think it's like a self-harm thing, like I want to hurt myself, therefore I'm gonna sign up for 100 miler. I think it's, I know that this is a crazy feat to accomplish and I know that there's gonna be pain involved with this, but I'm willing to go through that in order to run this crazy race. So that's my answer to that. I thought it was a little bit funny. I'm not sure if it was supposed to be funny, but yeah, that's how I'm gonna answer that. Let's go to the gym, get a little lift in, and I'll catch up with you guys with some more questions after we're done. Okay, so much has happened since that last clip. Number one, my husband, right before I was leaving for the gym, realized that he needed to go to the airport and he was gonna literally be at the airport with like 5 minutes to spare before his flight left. So I literally rushed him to the airport. You're welcome, honey. And he did make his flight. Also, throughout the day, I just started feeling way more worse. And it's funny because I mentioned my little lichen in my mouth, and oftentimes I get these flare-ups when I'm feeling sick. So it's not an immune reaction, but I have like a couple of different flare-ups in my mouth, and 100% it's because I am not feeling very well. So I literally drove home from the airport and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like drunk. Like I feel like something's seriously wrong. So I got home and I was like, I'm just gonna check my temperature because I have a feeling that I'm just like not doing well. And I had a 101-degree fever. So that's definitely what it was. I opted out of my run today, opted out of the gym today, went and got a IV at my local little IV infusion center. What my IV consisted of, just in case people want to know, was 10 times dose of vitamin C, 2 times dose of glutathione, zinc, and then I also got IM NAD and IM vitamin D. So my hope is that I can just shake this thing ASAP because my throat hurts. Obviously I have this flare up in my mouth and I have a fever. So 9 days out from my race, I would love to be able to feel good. So that's unfortunate, yes, but I'm trying not to get in my head too bad about it. Hopefully it passes very, very quickly. But back to our questions, because I want to make sure I give you guys a pretty good rundown of the things that I wanted to go over. Someone asked, how do you get faster? Zone 2 training thoughts. And I think I touched on this a little bit earlier, but when I talked about how to get faster, but Zone 2 training thoughts, I'm just going to go with the science on this. You need Zone 2 in order to get faster, 100%. Someone said, can you talk about toenail health, please? I am not the girl to ask because I'm basically always missing a toenail. I will say I have started getting pedicures and it has helped just my toenail health in general because I feel like they address like the thickening of toenails. After you lose them, they like grow back and they grow back thicker. So I do feel like they've addressed that. They actually look pretty, should I show my, no, I'm not gonna show my feet. They look pretty good right now, honestly. What made you fall in love with marathons? I actually don't love road marathons. You guys know Mesa Marathon was my first standalone road marathon. Don't really love marathons, but absolutely love ultra marathons. And I think it just has to do with being in the outdoors. And the reason why I'm drawn to trail running versus road running is the experience of getting to adventure. Let me let my dog out. And that kind of brings us to the second question about this, fave and least favorite parts of ultras versus road. So because I've only experienced one road marathon, I can't speak on it too much, but I don't enjoy like the pressure, I guess, of like how competitive the road environment is, and also the massive amounts of people. I'm just not used to that. Coming from the trail world, I didn't really race road marathons or road half marathons. So I've done a couple halves, but like smaller halves, not larger ones. I actually started with Spartan races, which are pretty dang small, and that's kind of how I got started in running. So I would say my least favorite part about road running is just like massive amounts of people. I don't know. I know a lot of people love that about road racing, but for me, I don't know that it's my vibe 100%. So I would say that is my least favorite. Favorite part about road is that it's so much more predictable. Obviously there's variances on courses, but comparatively to trail, you can, I guess, train with more intentionality and train with more preciseness, and then also race with more precision is the word I was looking for, with more precision. So I do enjoy that. Trail running, there's so many more variables, which I really like. And I think for me, like the 100-mile distance is so drawing to me because of that aspect, but it can also be considered a negative as well. Did your stomach get upset during Leadville, and how are you mitigating it for Zion? My stomach did get upset at Leadville, and it could have been a combination of multiple things. So Leadville is all above 10,000 feet. So that can automatically have a large impact on your gut, how your gut's feeling, how your muscles are feeling, etc. So keep that in mind with these high altitude races. They're just gonna have more factors than something like Zion 100, which does have altitude, but coming from where I'm at, which is like 4,700 feet, I am not considering it to be a high altitude race. My stomach did get upset at Leadville. But I talked about it with my crew, and I think a lot of it actually had to do with the fact that we swapped my waist belt. So I was originally wearing my waist belt from Ultraspire that has a light, and then they swapped it out for Shane's naked belt and the Kugala. The issue with the belt was that it was fitted for Shane's body, not for my body. So it actually was bouncing a lot while I was running, and I think that made me seasick. I do experience seasickness and I get car sick. So to be honest, I think it was probably due to that more than it was to do with anything else. So, and that was all after it got dark. So my stomach was completely fine up until then. So that is what I would suspect it was from. And it says, how are you mitigating it for Zion? At Zion, I'm definitely most concerned about my body in the heat, and definitely nausea, vomiting is something that you can experience if you're not heat acclimated and then you go out and run in 95 degrees. So I'm definitely having that in the back of my head, but for heat, really the only thing that you can do is stay hydrated, stay fueled, and just slow down your pace. So these are all adjustments that I'm gonna make on race day, considering all of the factors that I have at hand, but trying to maintain like cool, calm, and collected right now because I just don't know what race day is gonna look like. So we'll take things as they get thrown at us, and I'll do my best. And that's all I can really ask for. Someone says, not a question, I love your content and love this series too. I really appreciate that. You guys are so kind. I've honestly loved sharing this series with you. I'm sorry that I feel like this video or the end of this video is so low energy, but I promise you, I'm so happy that you guys are all here, and it makes me feel so, so good knowing that you guys are watching and that you're finding some level of value out of these videos. It truly, honestly means so much to me. I tried to get to as many of these questions as I could. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching today's video, and I hope that you found value in at least one of these questions. If you have any additional questions, please make sure to leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to get to them in next week's video before race day. So if you have any specific questions on that, just let me know in the comments below. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. We do have a large majority of watchers who are not subscribed, and I just want to tell you, I do this for you. So I would really appreciate it if you subscribed. It really does help me out. But I love you guys so stinking much. Thank you for watching another episode of Chasing Zion 100. Until next time, stay unbreakable.